Welcome to Expat Juris Podcast. This is our second episode, and we're so glad you're here.
This podcast is brought to you by Expat Juris, our law firm where we talk about everything related to Thai law and expat life. Real cases, real issues, and practical lessons for anyone living or investing in Thailand.
Today, we've got a case that many expats will find very familiar. It's about love, money, and land ownership, a mix that often leads to trouble in Thailand.
Exactly. And it all comes from a real Supreme Court judgment, so stick with us because this story might just save you from making a very costly mistake.
All right, let's jump into today's story. This one's straight from the Supreme Court of Thailand, judgment number 1179-2561. And it starts like many expat stories, with love, trust, and, of course, money.
Picture this. A foreigner falls in love with a Thai woman. They decide to marry, build a life together, and buy property. The foreigner transfers millions of baht to his wife, believing this is their future.
But here's the twist. The marriage wasn't even valid. Why? Because she was already married to her first husband.
Yep, still legally tied to her first husband. And suddenly, all that money, all those transfers are in question. Was it a gift? Was it a loan? Or was it deception? That's exactly what the court had to figure out.
All right, let's start from the beginning. This case is about a Thai woman who married a Danish man back in 1990.
Fast forward almost 20 years, and she marries another man here in Thailand, our plaintiff. But here's the problem. She never divorced her first husband.
And under Thai law, that means the second marriage was automatically void. You simply can't be married to two people at the same time.
That's where the complications start, because even though the marriage wasn't valid, the couple still lived together, and the husband transferred a lot of money into her bank account, over 25 million baht in total.
Now, some smaller transfers, 100,000 baht before the marriage and 70,000 baht after, were for minor day-to-day expenses, like shared bills, groceries, and other living costs. The court considered these as given out of affection for personal and shared expenses, so she was allowed to keep them.
But then there was the big transfer, 25 million baht. This money was used to buy assets and property, all registered under the wife's name, including investment units worth 20 million baht, land, and vehicles. Some of the investments were later sold. The court ruled that the entire sum, along with the assets, had to be returned to the husband.
All right, now let's talk about the land. The wife held title deed with a building on it under her name.
Right, and under Thai law, sections 86, 94, and 96 of the Land Code, there's strict rules about land ownership, especially when someone holds it on behalf of someone else. Basically, the husband was the real owner, and she was just holding it for him.
Exactly. The law says the land has to be sold within a certain time set by the Director General of the Land Department. If it's not, the Director General can step in and sell it.
So, the court ordered that the land and building be sold through the Land Department. The wife had to register the transfer herself, but if she didn't, the court's judgment would act in her place. And when it's sold, the money goes to the husband. If she still didn't act, the Land Department could handle it under the law.
All right, let's move on to the lessons learned from this case.
There are a lot of foreigners and clients in Thailand who come to us with stories like this. They meet a Thai woman, give her money, and later she leaves them.
Even small amounts for daily expenses or gifts can add up over time to a considerable sum. In cases like this, that kind of money is usually not recoverable, just like the court ruled.
That's why it's safer to give significant sums after marriage, not before. The key takeaway for expats is be careful with money, understand the legal status of your relationship, and know what the law will and won't protect.
Let's talk about the next lesson.
Right. So foreigners generally can't own land directly. It's one of those rules you really need to know before getting involved.
The silver lining, if land is held under your name or on your behalf, you can still claim the money when it's sold. That's what happened here. The husband got the proceeds even though the property was registered to his wife.
But honestly, even with that protection, it's a huge headache in legal battle. Going through the courts isn't fun, so for expats, it's much safer to avoid getting into these situations at all.
That wraps up today's episode of Expat Juris Podcast.
We've gone through a real-life case about marriage, money, and land in Thailand, and the lessons every expat should know.
Remember, understanding the law, being careful with money, and knowing the rules around property can save you a lot of trouble down the line.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our next episode, and follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube for more updates and insights.
See you next time.